Okay. Police have grave concerns for the welfare of Mr Ian Lees, a 53-year-old man from Modbury North, who's been missing since the 1st of March 2022. We know Mr Lees was here in Civic Park at Modbury before heading up Fairley Avenue towards Fairley Reserve, and that was the last time he's been seen. Police have deployed many resources to this area on a number of occasions, and that's included Staff Force, our dog operations, Polair, and the State Emergency Service have also assisted with a search of the wetlands and the surrounding area. Unfortunately, Mr Lees hasn't been located. He hasn't spoken to his family since the 1st of March and hasn't used his bank accounts, so we're hoping that a member of the public might be able to come forward and offer some further information about the whereabouts of Mr Lees. You can do that by contacting the police assistance line on 131 444.
Are you confident he didn't leave the area? Public transport?
We have checked public transport movements as well. Unfortunately, that was unsuccessful. We really don't know where Mr Lees is, and that's a problem for us.
Do you think that his disappearance is suspicious? Have you managed to rule out some lines of inquiry? Where are you guys at with that investigation?
We don't think there's any foul play involved in where Mr Lees' absence is eventuated from, so we're just hoping that someone has some information about where he might be, and we can locate him and make sure that he's okay.
Do you have any idea of his mood that night when he left the house? Was he angry? Was there an argument? Can you shed any light on that?
We don't think there's any problem with what happened to Mr Lees. We know that he was here in the park with some of his acquaintances, and then for whatever reason he's left up and headed towards home. He left his mobile phone in the park, which was a concern. One of the searches that we did conduct on the 11th of March located his backpack up at the end of Fairley Avenue, so that was another concern, that he's without his phone and his other belongings.
Where was his backpack? Was it in bushes or was it somewhere obvious?
His backpack was found on the footpath, and we do have some CCTV from nearby houses that showed him with his backpack at the time, and then we found it. So it's again very unusual set of circumstances.
Do you know if his medical condition is that suspicious that have any catching up?
We don't believe that there's been any medical factor that has contributed to Mr Lee's disappearance. It is quite unusual that he has just gone missing without anything being located of a personal nature other than his backpack. So.
Can you go into a bit more of the search that you've conducted and over what period and exactly what resources?
Yeah, we've been looking now for 6 weeks, and there's been many officers from Northern District who've participated in getting out and about and searching all the streets, the wetlands, the parks. We've used police on motorcycles, we've had Polair, we've had water ops checking the creek and the drains, but we haven't been able to find Mr Lees at this time, and we're hopeful that a member of the public might provide some new information that gives us some more opportunities to conduct further searches.
And did that CCTV, did it capture him coming back out of the street, or the last sighting was him going into the wetlands?
Yeah, the last CCTV that we have of Mr Lees showed him heading up towards Fairley Reserve and heading north, which would be a loop back towards his home at Modbury North, and we searched that route as well, but we haven't been able to locate anything further of interest at this time.
What did he appear like on camera? Did he look disorientated or agitated?
Mr Lees looked like he might have been a little bit intoxicated, but there was nothing to indicate that he was having a medical episode or anything of that nature, so we're just hopeful that he turns up.
Is it out of character for him to be missing for some time?
Yeah, it is out of character, yeah. He's only been missing once before, and that was only for a couple of days many years ago, so to have this extended period where he's been missing is a real concern to us.
And obviously this is an extremely tough time for his family who are just wanting some answers. Can you shed some light on how they're feeling at the moment?
Mr. Lee's family are very concerned for his whereabouts. It's not in his nature to be away from home for an extended period at all. So they're hopeful that someone knows something and can provide police with some new information where we can conduct a new search.
And have you been able to speak to some of those people who were on the CCTV talking to him that night?
Yeah, we've conducted many interviews. Detectives from Northern District have been very active in the area over the last 6 weeks and spoken to a number of people who interacted with Mr. Lees on the night he went missing, but unfortunately we haven't got any new leads and there's been no information that's led us to where he might be.
And talk us through what you're doing over at the Woolworths today.
Okay, so we've got a bit of a stand over at Woolworths at Tea Tree Plaza today where police are handing out flyers with Mr. Lee's photo on them and just asking anyone who might have come into contact with him to give us a call on the police assistance line 131 444, and then we might be able to put together some of that new information with some of our existing information and perhaps resume searches in areas that we haven't looked before.
I also heard that from his friends that he was very close with his dog Jasper's, and he also left his dog on the night that he went missing. Is that strange considering he was known to take Jasper everywhere he went?
That is unusual, yes, that Mr. Lees would have left his dog, so we're just hoping that we get some new information where we can start to resume the search again.